Good morning, all you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
I'm Stacey.
It's Monday, November 28th, and here's why today is strange.
Okay, so let's start off with a story about a physicist
Okay.
who proposes a method for telling if we all live in a computer program.
Oh, we're back to that.
Well, there is a theory out there
There
that, the world is actually a computer simulation or, virtual reality that is done by a higher intelligence than us.
Right.
Right. So this is Melvin.
Made a crappy game, didn't we? I mean, there's a lot of flaws in the game.
There are quite a few flaws. I agree with that. I agree. All right. So his name is Melvin Vopson. He's a senior lecturer in physics at the University of Portsmouth.
Right.
And he's claiming that this computer simulation universe, it's actually a branch of science called information physics.
Is it?
It is. And that suggests that the space-time and matter, what we perceive as space-time and matter, is just made up of bits of information. They compare it to like temperature. Like when you have temperature, it basically just comes from where the atoms, a collection of atoms, moves together.
Right.
And then temperature emerges. They're saying that when bits of our universe move together, then our reality emerges.
Okay.
And it's not really real. It's just bits of information. That's the whole idea behind the physics. Now, he explains that he has this experiment that he's figured out. I'm not going to go through the entire how the experiment works. There is a link to this story in the description where he goes through the whole thing.
Cool.
But he did come up with a list of reasons why it's plausible that our universe is a simulation. And some of them are pretty interesting. It says that basically in a virtual reality game, everything is made up of bits. In our universe, we have elementary particles, which are basically bits. That's the smallest little bit of information that you can get. We have a speed limit in our universe, the speed of light.
Yes.
And so if you're thinking about it, it's sort of like a computer simulation, that would be the speed of the processor or the computer that's running the simulation, things like that. So pretty interesting. And he claims that he has an experiment that is highly achievable with our existing tools and that they have launched a crowdfunding site so that they can start doing these experiments to tell once and for all, do we live in a computer's virtual reality simulation?
I think Melvin does. And Melvin, now that you've figured it out, it's time for us to all let you know what you've won. An expense paid, fully furnished, all meals taken care of, trip to Bellevue Resort.
Resort.
We all wear white coats and we put something on you for your own safety.
Right.
No,
right.
I mean, listen, there's been a lot of people say this, propose this, and ever since we pretty much got to the modern era of computing, people have come up with this, and you see it everywhere, and even a book I was reading recently, kind of went there with the whole thing. It was a Dan Brown book.
Because our world's very mathematical, like everything.
And it's called Origin, and it's very creepy to the fact of like, I got mad because I was able to tell what was happening before the protagonist was able to tell. And, he's supposed to be bloody brilliant.
You were like, could you get on with it already?
I'm like, come on. Like, because it was like in the year 2000, there was something else living here with us, with human beings. They were just a speck at the time. But if you fast forward just 20 years, they've grown exponentially this big. And then if you go another 20 years, they wipe out humanity. I was like, it's AI. It's obvious.
Was that the book that when I went shopping, you were listening to it, and when I came out from shopping, he was still explaining?
Yes.
What you had already figured out?
Yes. You shopped for an hour. That's also that hour that I got into a fight in the parking lot. I'm not that way, okay? I'm just not that way. I'm not that kind of guy anymore. And some dude just slammed his car door and hit my car and wasn't going to say sorry. He didn't see me in the car.
Oh, was just going to run, huh?
I doubt he does that anymore.
Probably not.
I might have, it was the book's fault. I was so frustrated at this book. I jerked the guy out of his car.
We'll blame Dan Brown.
And I was like, I felt really bad about it. This is a real story. I pulled the guy out of his car.
Mm-hmm.
This is terrible when I say it out loud.
Well, you've already started now.
So anyway, the guy kind of tripped and fell on his back.
Trip.
And he was just saying, I'm sorry. Big dude too. I mean, he was a bigger guy. Mm-hmm. Skinny, but he's a big guy. And I just kind of Homer Simpson myself out of there. Kind of just back into the bushes. All of a sudden, it came to me like, whoa, Stacey's going to get really mad at me. So I got back in there and I texted her. She was in line. And I was just like, hey, something happened parking lot. So, yeah, that's why I think we're not in a virtual reality.
Right.
Is because crazy stuff like that can still happen. I don't know. Listen, as I said, a lot of people have put this forward.
They have.
It makes sense in a lot of ways.
It does, even with the whole glitch phenomenon.
Yeah.
Where people say that stuff glitches. That would be anytime you have a computing simulation that's running like that, errors are going to build up. Yeah. And then when you go in to fix it, it causes the glitch.
Well, even if you look at other civilizations, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we've got all these signs of extraterrestrial life or something that goes through our atmosphere, and we see it out there, but they don't want to let us know what it is. Like, they know what it is. Mm-hmm. Why could that not be some type of little bot or something that controls the game?
Right.
Controls the simulation. Keeps things running the way they do. Think about alien abductions. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a way to check.
Ah, that's right.
How things are going there.
It would even give purpose to the Black Knight satellite, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, modifying things, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to have updates. Mm-hmm. You're going to have, and there's been a couple of hard resets. Yeah. So, that gives plausibility to the fact of there's not really any history, that, maybe they wrote the whole backstory.
There you go.
And this hasn't been going on as long as because if they're making it, they could put anything they want in the ground.
That's true. For us to find at any time.
And it's weird how narratives change all of a sudden. And we talk about this, like, for instance, it really upsets me when we have murders happen every day. Mm-hmm. Go to Chicago, right?
Right.
You're going to have 150 people die in a weekend. I'm sorry if the numbers aren't correct. Maybe it's 50.
Right.
But there's a lot of murders, unfortunately. Rarely do we pick one of those out and be like, young Brenda, whatever, she, blah, 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 right? But every now and then the news will pick up on this one story about this one couple, and it is everywhere. Right. And then we watch the trial and all this. These trials happen daily. Yeah. These murders happen daily. Mm-hmm. And it's weird to pick up on one, but that's the narrative. That's where they want you focused, and everything goes to that. When they have one show on TV, they have 10 of them. You don't just have CSI. You have everything based around that. And it's always like we're being fed certain things. And it bothers the crap out of me. I mean, one can look at it as something that's popular. They make other things like it. Yeah, I don't know. It does feel like there's certain narratives we have to follow. Mm-hmm. And we all talk about that stuff at the water cooler every day. There's a lot to it. But it could also just be life.
It could.
So I don't know. I don't believe we're in a simulation.
No, I don't think I ascribe to that either.
I don't.
I'm curious what his experiment's going to do, and if he gets the money. If you want to contribute, just go down to the link. There's a link in the story for his Indiegogo. I mean, it could even explain ghosts and things, or people that hear things, because there could be bleed through and whatnot. But I don't believe in it. I believe that it's, no matter how advanced civilizations can get, there's even the speed of light thing. Do the UAPs not break that? I don't know.
Well, kind of. They're going faster than anything we've ever seen.
Right.
And they're gone, and they break the laws of physics, meaning the laws of physics are not that much a law as it is
Suggestions.
that because it's as far as we could get.
Right.
Or as much as we could understand. Something understands more.
Something. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, interesting story, Stacey.
Very interesting. All right. Well, let's move on to another interesting story from Ohio.
Oh, hi.
So this is about a horse that was mutilated on a farm.
Oh, I thought this was about a football team that was mutilated on a field.
No, that's
when
a
the
totally
Michigan
different
Wolverines
story.
beat the Ohio State Buckeyes
Right.
for the first time since 2000 on that particular horseshoe. Not that I had a horse in that race.
So let's go to this story.
Let's go blue. Let's go to this story.
All right. So a farmer in Ohio went out to check in his barn to check on his animals, and he found that one of his horses was missing. And so a quick check of his security camera footage showed nothing unusual. And he did happen to notice, though, on his property that the bottom wire of his electric perimeter fence had been cut twice. And so he thought maybe there was a connection between that and the missing horse. So he called the police, and the police came out. They searched the property, and they ended up finding the horse dead and mutilated near a nearby creek. Now, the local sheriff's department, when they investigated, their report stated that a, quote, non-human was responsible. Now, it's a very strange story. It's not a lot to the story because there aren't any pictures.
What a weird way to put that.
Exactly. So there's not any pictures. Supposedly the barn was destroyed and like the door was broken in, things like that. But there was nothing caught on the security camera. No intruders, no animals, nothing. And then when the sheriff writes up the report, they don't say, oh, animal did this or a wolf or no, they called it a non-human.
That's strange.
And that's
that
it.
is weird.
That's the whole bit of
Why would he write it like that?
I have no idea. And they did also state, the report also stated, and this is a little strange, that the horse had been attacked somewhere else and somehow ended up in the creek when it died. So it was in a different location after it was attacked.
So we didn't even see the horse leave the barn, which we should have seen the horse leave the barn.
Right. And supposedly the barn was messed up as well. Some damage had been done, and that was not caught. And they looked through all the footage, and this area of Ohio is in Ross County in southern Ohio, which is the same area where you get Serpent Mound and you get Fort Ancient, Mound City, all the earthworks, things like that. So very weird section of Ohio.
Been there.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
a lot of horse land around there too.
Now this story got picked up online from different people. A lot of people are trying to say Bigfoot maybe. I would think a Bigfoot would be caught on camera. But
I mean, Bigfoot should be caught on camera.
Yes,
I mean, it's as plausible as anything else if you believe that.
It is, especially. But it's just very strange, and really strange the way the sheriff's office kind of described that.
It's really weird that they just didn't put animal attack. That would lead you to think the way of the mutilation was not something normal. So I would really like to know how it was mutilated.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Was
you
it,
and everybody else, there was
it,
no information.
Was it missing all its blood?
Right.
Was there surgical incisions? That's weird, man. That's very, very weird. It looks like the owner would be able to get some kind of information from it, though.
You would think so, but even the owner is staying anonymous. Like, he didn't go on.
He had a visit, huh?
Sure, probably. So
a couple of pale guys in black hats.
I don't know. Very strange. Pale guys and black hats. All right. You ready to move on?
No.
Yeah, we're moving on anyway. So this is a story about a rare American lion fossil that was found in the Mississippi River.
Wow.
Yeah, very strange. Now, this is because
the land formerly known as the Mississippi River.
Yeah, this is because of the drought, and parts of the Mississippi River have dried up. And while exploring a newly exposed sandbar, a man named Wiley Pruitt spotted something black sticking out of the sand. And when he went for closer inspection, he realized it was a tooth, a really big tooth. So he suspected that it belonged to some kind of carnivore, but he wasn't sure what it was. So he decided to take it to the Mississippi Fossil and Artifact Symposium and Exhibition event. It was taking place.
That's convenient.
Yeah, around the same time that he found it. So when he took it, coincidentally, that particular event was featuring the previously discovered American lion fossils when he walked in with his. So the curator of paleontology at the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, he was the one running the event, described it as a really surreal scene because he told him, hey, that's an American lion artifact. They found like 4 in the United States, and that's it. It's a very rare thing to find. And it just so happened that he took it to this event and they had the other specimens on display at the same time.
So this is a case of the lion wanting to be found. Obviously, this is one of those cases where something wanted that to be found. There were so many people thinking about it, talking about it. I mean, how else do you explain that, right? Unless it's like we're living in a simulation.
I mean, that would just be crazy.
I mean, that would be like, oh, hey, we're playing this chapter of the game right now. Oh,
got to find all the American lion fossils and take them to this.
There's a symposium happening right now on extinct lions in Mississippi. Oh, there's a Mississippi lion tooth. Good thing the symposium's happening right now.
Take it over there and give it to the curator,
who automatically goes, Eureka! Y'all, we've been looking for that.
It was a tooth that was attached to a partial fossilized jawbone. So now these large American lions, it says they've been extinct for roughly 11,000 years.
Have they?
First appeared at least 340,000 years ago, and they were roughly 25% larger than today's African lions. So they stood like 4 feet tall at the shoulders and measured 5 to 8 feet in length, and some of them may have topped even 1,000 pounds.
Thank God for
humongous. Well, humongous.
That reminds me. That Ancient Apocalypse show with Graham Hancock that I kept telling you guys to watch on Netflix, what ended up being one of the most popular shows on Netflix, period.
Oh, it's great.
So it's like number 1 in a lot of categories. People are checking it out. People are loving it. Well, let the cancellations begin, folks, because I shared on our Paranormal Sideshow Facebook page, I'll put it on Today is Strange as well, the unbelievable avalanche of hate and just BS. The Guardian actually put, this is the most dangerous show on Netflix as a headline.
Wow.
Now, that really bothered me because it's Netflix. Okay, if we're talking the most dangerous show and you have shows dealing with things you might not want your kids doing, things you might not approve of in daily society, glorifying serial killers, things like that. It's ridiculous to me to call it, the most dangerous show. I mean, basically, it's a well-studied man and his accomplices presenting a theory in the forms of questions.
Yes, about locations, ancient locations.
About ancient locations and what could have happened, what may have happened, what evidence, real evidence, points to not happening, which is the mainstream, old school, the thing that changes every day. Science. We've joked about it for years on the show. It always changes. It's living, breathing. The deeper we dig, the more we find. There's things that just don't make sense, that do not fit into what the textbook says. That's just the way it is, period. You cannot believe in aliens, you cannot believe in Bigfoot, you cannot believe in ghosts. That's all great. But I can take you out to Baalbek and have you try to explain to me how we did that. And you won't. With the most studied collegiate, dude out there, you're not going to be able to tell me something because it's impossible. To this day, it's going to take the finest equipment we have to be able to do some of the things you're going to find. And so that's the questions that are being posed. And it's just saying 12,800 years ago, we had a big boom and it was one of our great extinctions. A lot of people don't argue that because, the proof's there. And it killed off all the major flora and fauna, like Mississippi lions. And, what's left is us being a species with amnesia of, hey, we had higher technology at one point. And that technology, it seems like something went to all the races And you'll see this all over the world. You'll see the carvings of the man with the bag, that the bag looks the same in all of these places. And it seems like he was the one bringing, or these people, the remnants of a great civilization, was teaching us all of a sudden, because, yeah, guess what? All of a sudden, we started agriculture overnight. A lot of these things you don't just pick up and, at the master level. And, so that's what this goes into. And obviously somebody didn't, I've read his books for years, and it's always like, well, I get attacked by mainstream academia and all this stuff. And you know what? I'm thinking, well, that's a way to sell a book, isn't it? And then there are nonstop headlines from big publications talking about this. And it's just like, wow, what don't they want you to know?
Yeah, it seems perfectly harmless show to me.
Anyway, go watch it. Just be a rebel. Moving on.
All right, shall we move on?
Let's.
All right, so let's do a story from Belgium.
I love Belgium.
So this is a story about how Belgium is struggling to incinerate all of the cocaine it seized in yet another record year.
Oh, do they need help with that?
Has an abundance of cocaine that they're having to store in undisclosed locations until they can get around to incinerating it all.
Do they know what day they're going to do that?
They won't say. So it's a record amount of cocaine that they've seized. We're talking about tons. Tons of it are still waiting to be incinerated.
In other news, every supermodel on the planet has embarked on Belgium.
There's only a certain amount that they can incinerate at a time because of a lot of different reasons. Their incinerators only hold so much. Agreements with the environmental issues, things like that. They're trying to get bigger incinerators, but they haven't been able to do that yet.
Oh my God, how much cocaine do they have?
Tons and tons. It says in here that there was just one drug bust, like back in October, that was 6 tons of cocaine. And they've had busts all year long. And they are trying to destroy it as quickly as possible. And they claim that they're having to store it in undisclosed locations because they're worried that some organized crime, people with organized crime, are going to try and descend to get back some of the stuff that's taken.
What they're worried about?
Well, I don't know why they did a news story on it if they were so super worried about people coming trying to steal it.
Johnson. Yes, sir. Appreciate you being here on the Belgian police force. I actually do. But I also appreciate the hard work you've been doing the last couple of months. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I do my best. Ha ha, wee. Seems like you've lost some weight, Johnson. Well, have I? Have I? Oh, well, I don't know about that. I guess it's all the hard work I'm doing. Hippity. Uh-huh. Well, you carry on the good work. You seem to be spry and do you want to go eat some lunch? Oh, no. I'm not hungry.
Spry.
Not hungry at all. I'm going to go now. I got to go mark some evidence. I mean,
isn't that crazy? They said that 1 gram of cocaine is about 50 euros, just 1 gram. And they have tons and tons of it. I love that they put a news story out and they're like, we're not going to tell anybody where we're incinerating it or when or where it's hidden. But we have all this.
Maybe
we just don't want anyone
because they really do want rid of it.
They just want people to come get it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very strange. What an odd problem to have.
Oh, yeah. What a bad drug.
It's a really good police force, apparently. All right, last story. So this is from Delaware. Delaware is apparently developing a pot-bellied pig problem from people dumping their unwanted pig pets. And there's so many of these going on that Delaware now has a problem with this. Yeah, isn't that strange? So the department's chief of community relations, her name is Stacey Hoffman, she said officials have noticed a sharp increase in the number of pot-bellied pigs that are roaming loose in the state since 2016. And they believe it's because pet owners, realizing that their pigs are not teacup pigs and are getting too big, like 200 pounds, they're just releasing them to the wild. And apparently these pigs that are now feral pigs, they don't have very good behaviors because they've been raised in houses and spoiled. And so they are a problem. a terrible problem. They also said they're not food animals, so you can't take them to livestock auctions.
That's how it all begins, isn't it? This is it.
So they're now urging
I've been waiting for this time.
all pig owners to spay and neuter their pigs.
We've been seeing it. Things have been changing for years. We knew it was coming, folks. And it's your fault, Delaware. It's your fault. You and your little privileged kids. Oh, I want a piggy. I want a little Peppa of my own. Well, guess what? Peppa gets big. Mm-hmm. And here you go. And what do? You throw it out? I mean, you could at least put it in the sewer so the alligators could get it.
And then you have big deformed pigs. What? I don't know.
I mean, that's horrifying. If you've ever seen pigs gone crazy, listen, that's pigs are not, you don't want to screw with a pig, especially a pampered pig that's no longer pampered.
Yeah, that's not afraid of people.
Yeah.
So
That's it's coming. Man bear pig. Man bear pig is real.
It's gonna
and
happen.
It makes sense it would start in the Northeast. All right. Well, on that terrible disappointment, I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday here in the United States and everywhere else. I hope you enjoyed not having us for a couple of days, but we're back. And that's why today is strange.